From San Francisco, it's Grumpy Old Doc with Dr. Gene B.
Hi, this is your host, Dr. Gene B. Today I have a guest in the studio. I'm proud to talk to Derek Lundsten of Scrimmage.
Great to be here, Gene. So Derek Lundsten with Scrimmage. I've been CEO of a company that's focused on mobile learning and education, focusing on how companies can transform their education and personalize that experience.
See, this is why I had him here, because one of the things that makes me grumpy is air travel. Certainly it's topical. We've seen, have you been dragged off an airplane recently, Derek?
Fortunately not.
Do you worry about it?
Sometimes.
Yeah, I remember saying, geez, if they try to get me off this plane, they got to be able to lift 200 pounds. Sometimes you just got to travel, and that's what people are saying these days. There's no way to avoid it. You got to travel one of the airlines. But one of the things I don't think you need to travel for is training. Fortunately, we've had distance training for a while, and a lot of it has sucked. Do you get feedback like that from people, that they're skeptical of distance training? Because I used to call it bear trap training.
Yeah.
Because I'd be willing to chew my own leg off to get out of it.
So that's a great point. So yes, we have heard that feedback, especially when it comes to traditional learning management systems and the fact that you have to sit in front of a computer for hours. It's unengaging. It's irrelevant sometimes. It's compliance driven. And what we've sought to do is how do you deliver content that's personalized to the individual and accessible on their phone, their tablet, so they can access it wherever they are, whenever they want on their own schedule, and it's relevant content for what they're doing and what they're interested in.
That sounds great. I mean, I just think of when I worked for the state, and we would have to go through all these distance learning things since they hadn't changed since, 1999 or something like that for the defensive driving. And they'd have these quizzes at the end of every section that were about as complicated as the DMV quizzes. I'm always amazed when somebody fails the written test at the DMV. Don't let them drive, folks. Don't give them a second chance. Nobody should ever fail that. But you put together like quizzes and things like that, and how difficult it is to make them meaningful. Because that's one of the downsides I've seen of a lot of distance learning courses.
Yeah. Is
the quizzes just ask somebody to regurgitate what they heard on the slide previous to that.
Part of it is driven by the fact that we're creating different modalities to deliver the content. So we're delivering it via quizzes, we're delivering it via different formats of quizzes, mix and match, drag and drop, multi-answer, time questions. So really kind of addressing different learning styles. But then more importantly, it's about the way we're delivering the content in the form of videos, in the form of micro-learning modules, in the form of interactive PDFs, ways that people can access it quickly on their phone, kind of do it in something that's relevant.
What about some of the old courses that I developed on some of these? I'm not going to mention any names, but there's a number of programs that can allow you to create interactive educational programs and quizzes. I've done a number of them on a number of different platforms. They'd have to all be recoded on your platform if they were going to be displayed there?
No, that's another nice benefit of our tool is that it's content agnostic or platform agnostic in the sense that if you've built tools in Articulate as an example, or you built other e-learning courseware, you built video tools, or you built documentation, we can support any of those natively within our application.
So there's no waste of money in training, or if I got somebody that's good at putting that together, they're still going to be useful when this platform is employed.
That's exactly right.
So is this stuff that you put together with your content experts, or is this stuff that your customers put together and you digify it?
Predominantly, it's the latter. Our clients are actually providing content or working with partners that have built it, so they might have developed their own material. We're then just helping them reframe and provide a platform to deliver it. Okay. We have developed partnerships, though, with certain organizations, training providers, publishers, even looking now at educational systems at universities and things like that, and how they can deliver their content through our platform.
Yeah. Because it would strike me as some of the folks probably have some pretty good content. They may not quite be in tune with how to make it an interesting, interactive course that really helps folks. And it might be animation, as you put it. It might be sound. It might be quizzes. So you do offer some consulting for those folks to make things more engaging.
Absolutely. One of the things that we do when we launch our platform is we kind of think through in an initial onboarding, what does a map look like? Who are the different learning audiences that you want to reach? What are their demographics? Are they younger? Are they older? What's their role? Are they field-based? Are they internal? What's the outcome you want to achieve? Right? And then we can build content that's associated with those types of questions.
And how about what kind of voiceovers? I'm always interested in voices built for radio. Do you do the digital, we are now going through module 1, or do you actually have a human being?
It depends on the customer. Some are doing it voiceover on the module. Others are doing podcasts like we're doing here, or they're doing live broadcasted video, or they're doing actually user-generated content. That's actually something we're seeing more and more of, where users can actually record a best practice pitch, for example, of a sales call, and then they can post it to the website, and their peers can actually watch it and share their feedback. So we're generating more of the crowd-sourced content as well.
Well, that's part of how people are learning to interact these days. I mean, when I was a kid, people leaned on the back fence and chewed the fat, and now people go on Facebook and click a like and a share and a comment, and they start some stuff going. I'm not going to use the other term that they start going. How do you keep that when you have user-generated content? How do you keep control over it? How do you keep somebody from putting something on the platform that starts causing heartache from people from an HR perspective?
And again, because there's two facets to it. So one is there's a certain philosophical thing that people are going to do this learning regardless. So if they're going to do it on Facebook or they're going to do it on other social media channels, a lot of the companies are starting to see we'd rather have it internally on some sort of platform. And then what we've done is we've actually built different methods to gate access to content or to manage content, moderate it, so that an administrator could approve or deny something before it gets live, shared, or posted, something that might be damaging to the organization.
And in this day, sort of a related question, how do you make sure like Russian hackers don't take over somebody's distance learning system?
Well, it's a risk that we all have in technology of digital security, but we at Scrimmage are taking a big priority to safeguard the data using safe harbor protection and other methods in our servers, working with some of the best hosting providers out there, Amazon and Rackspace and others, who are also doing their diligence to protect the data. And we've built kind of a multifaceted approach to protecting that information.
Someday maybe we'll have you come by, and hopefully not when you have some sort of breach, but that would be a good discussion as well, talking about not only what measures do you put in case of a breach, what do you do? Do you have policies? Do you have procedures? Do you have a game plan?
And we do. Yeah, we have both a preventative plan as well as a reactive plan, and that's actually a huge portion of a lot of our contracts now when we do with these clients. We have to think through the parameters, and we've got both our documentation as well as customer documentation that oftentimes our IT teams have to do reconciliation and testing. It's a big priority for our clients especially, and for that reason it's a priority for us.
Now, I have to ask about a little semantics here, because I love words. I love playing with words. I said something about game plan just now. The name of your company is Scrimmage, and one of the things that you bring to the table in distance learning, a few years ago I heard Alexander Haig say, there is no noun that cannot be verbed. And we've heard about the electronification of medical records. Tell me about the gamification of distance learning.
Absolutely. So gamification of education, period. So how do you create a way to engage or to reward people for interacting with your content, whether it be through point systems or badges or rewards and recognition, or tying that into actual monetary or other recognition awards that the company might be offering? Tracking that data, how do you benchmark against your peers? I mean, look at the stuff we're doing now with Fitbit challenges, right? There's an example in the consumer world. Or, again, going back to social media, there's a lot of ways that we're doing it. In fact, we're even going to be doing a marketing campaign this week where we're gamifying prospective clients interacting with us through social media, sharing photos, sharing content about mobile learning, sharing content about gamification as a way to show real world how this works and driving utilization and interactivity.
Well, that fits with your model. I mean, it would strike me as handing out flyers on the corner probably wouldn't fit. So how do you know if these games are any fun?
Well, I'll give you an example. I was with a client last week, and she was telling me about the fact she uses our platform for gamification, and her husband works for another company that uses this platform, and he came home all excited talking about this great game called Rival that he was playing at his company, and he thought it was a unique concept. And then she kind of had to bust his bubble a bit and say, we have that game too. But the fact that we have multiple clients at companies talking about how fun this game is and actually sharing it between organizations.
And the game is going to be a little different between each client because
Absolutely.
of the different content.
Different content, different questions, different structure, different rewards. And not only that, but the way we've developed this particular game is every time a user plays the game, it's different because they're playing head-to-head against their peers.
So what about somebody like a grumpy old doc who, when my son and son-in-law talk about video games, my eyes glaze over. I have no interest whatsoever in Angry Birds, Candy Crush. I hate everybody that invites me to play those things on Facebook. What about me?
Well, I think there's going to be new delivery methods for audiences like you. So I don't know how much you know about virtual reality and augmented reality and some of those things, but that's something that we've heard from an immersive experience. Other demographics are really looking at those. And for people that might not have the means to travel or to do simulations, things like that, it's something that other people are looking at. And I think that's something that we as an organization are always looking to advance our product. And that's a space that we're evaluating right now.
Call of Duty. managed care ops director. I can see it now. So how do you really know if this, I mean, one of the problems with distance learning, as you say, it's compliance-based, it's content-based. Can you parrot back the 3 things you should never say to a coworker? But when you try to teach people, hey, take this approach when you're faced with a problem in the workplace, it's much more difficult to people to not parrot information back, but internalize it and be able to apply it to their day-to-day work.
Yes.
How do you know if you're getting that final important last mile of behavioral change?
So it's a work in progress, and it's also a bit case-based, but I'll give you a few data points. One is we track in our application how it's being used. So what content's being accessed, who's using it, how frequently, how much time are they spending in materials, as an example. So we can kind of see heat maps around what's relevant or what's not relevant, and that kind of is an indicator. That's the first piece. We're also tracking how they perform on quizzes, how they perform in role plays, how they perform in assessments and manager evaluations, things like that. So we have a bit more of the qualitative evaluation. And then we're now starting to take all the data that we have, we're analyzing it in whole, and we're actually starting to make KPIs and other things like that companies can use to say, is this driving sales? Is this driving retention? Is this reducing our churn? Is it affecting higher customer performance indicators? All these different things. And again, it's a work in progress, but we're moving in that general direction, and we have case studies of clients that are speaking to the fact that they're seeing the results. Now we're trying to support data with it as well.
Yep, that's the next thing, analytics, to figure out algorithms. What are the attributes that group people together, and we can focus things on each group? What are the attributes of someone that's successful? What are the attributes of someone who's not successful, and is there any intervention that we can help with?
That's exactly
right. So you
right.
said you have some case studies. You said you're going to be having a social media event this coming week. So you obviously have some customers. Tell me a little bit about this. You're not burning through venture capital money, are you? Actually are, I don't know, a unicorn. I'm not going to bring that up from my past life, but you're somebody you're successful in delivering a tech product.
Yeah, we've developed a platform, a technology product that companies are buying and they're paying for it, and we've built the product from the ground up and are selling it in that way. We're self-sustaining. We've not raised outside capital. We are serving our clients' interests and serving what the market is requesting in terms of new technology. And from a client mix standpoint, we do a lot of work in the healthcare space, working with leading pharmaceutical manufacturers, biotechnology organizations, medical device organizations, and even advancing beyond that into insurance and managed care, into hospital systems, into medical associations, into traditional education, looking at ways to impact patient care and other things like that. And so that's one in the healthcare space, and then even outside of healthcare, working in more traditional insurance, working in financial services, retail, technology as other suppliers or purchasers of our platform. In fact, we provide training for how people can maximize their investment. I think it's a really compelling story is the fact that, to your question, we can show real learning outcomes and real behavioral change and ROIs at the same time as show cost savings and efficiency within the same tool. That's a really compelling business case because you're appealing to both people looking at top line as well as bottom line results. And it's something that users enjoy, and shows this data that they actually like engaging on our platform. It's super simple.
So what's in the future? You know, my medical license expires at the end of this month, May. And so that means I'm going to spend a couple of days staring at horrible courses in front of the computers as I accumulate enough continuing medical education to renew my license. Is there any hope that in the future I'll be able to play a game or see something interesting, something useful, rather than this stuff that I look at nowadays?
It is my hope that we can do that. So, I mean, again, you can see the companies that we're working with and how they're evolving. The use cases are also evolving, whether it be through CME, whether it be through looking at different audiences within CME, whether it be patient education, whether it be clinical trials.
Yeah, what about patient education? You're going to go retail with this? You're going to teach people about their diabetes? I mean, if we can get people to eat their fruits and vegetables, exercise, avoid tobacco, wash their hands, get a good night's sleep, my God, what that would do for the country.
I think there's a major market opportunity. I think for us it'll take some time because we've focused on the business-to-business side, so it'll take some evolution. But the reality is that employees are consumers. So if we can impact how they view content within organizations, we may be able to make the case on why they can apply this technology in their day-to-day personal lives.
Very cool. Well, I'm sure there's some people out there who will be intrigued by this and actually not just wish for it, but they have a way to sort of bring some of this to reality in their organization. Best way to find out more, best way to stay in touch with upcoming developments. Maybe they're CME. You ain't there yet with CME. How can they watch your space so they know when you are there with CME?
Absolutely. So check us out on our website, wescrimmage.com, and also on all the social